Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We're on the ladder with ZLO playing Cybern, Maitz noob. Also playing Cybern Star from Glaciers, 20x20 map, Transport Rush map. This is a place for a Transport Rush build. So you have major expansions and slightly smaller expansions. This one is quite important. 8 mexes here in mid. Before we start, yeah, once again, check out 2v2 WWPC hosted by FTX Commando. Go join up. There's low rated brackets as well as high rated ones. Brackets are divided by the combined rating of the teams, not by any individual's rating. So you can team up with a high rated guy and a low rated guy in one of the, say, the second bracket, the under 3400. And the lower rated bracket has no signups or very few signups. So if you want an avatar, then that's the place to go to get one. ZLO is not moving his comm in his build order. Seems like Maitz is not moving either. And it's pretty common. It's not, I don't know. I think you probably should move your commander. Looks like, I mean, I'm saying that, but I don't actually move my commander. Last time I played this map, I didn't move my commander. But maybe you should. But the reason they don't move their commander is because they have this reclaim that they use. So they don't actually have to grab the mexes as fast. They focus just on getting the P-gens. They're both going to make 10 P-gens, I'm guessing. That's pretty normal. ZLO has 9 here. And we have 3 engineers expanding. That's generally what people do, because just for the number of mexes and also the manual reclaim, 3 engineers is pretty much all you need. Sending a 4th one is not going to make you get any of that stuff much faster, and you can use your build power instead to get your power in your factory and your transport up faster. So we have first scout and an inti, followed by transport. So ZLO not just rushing the transport as Maitz is doing. See, Maitz has now continued building power with his commander, where engineers are assisting his factory, and he's stalling. And so now he stops and he's not stalling anymore, so nice BO there. Just a slight stall, and now ZLO's transport's coming up. Where is the interceptor? It's still in his base. Slight mistake there. I don't think he just finished that. I think it was kind of idle a bit. So he's gonna use his scout, try and spot the transport. Maitz continues building power up, assisting his air factory. He's gonna drop 1 engineer here. Now ZLO's transport is moving to the left island. Oh, he's moving to the side to avoid the air scout, and then he's going to drop mid and then the left island. So that's quite greedy. Oh, his inti is getting absolutely wrecked. And Might's transport is unperturbed. It's going to drop 3 locations. 2 engineers here, 3 here, and 1 here. He's going to build a naval factory. So this is going well for Maitz. He's gonna need a lot more power soon, because he's gonna get all these mexes, and see there's a lot of these chunks of ice. That was some intis killing. Maitz lost his transport. And ZLO has successfully dropped 3 locations, but 3 better locations than Maitz, I would say. And also slightly later, he drops on the hydro and instantly builds it. That's really good, because he desperately needs that power. Still needs the power. You can see it's. I think most of the power drain is actually in all of these engineers that are building P-gens. But this Hydra is really nice, and now he's going to have 8 mexes here. So 8 mexes here. If you look at these islands, there's about, what, 8? There's 20. No. It's 8 and 5, which is 13. 13 mexes on the island, and 8 on this. These are a lot closer together, so he can grab them faster. And it's also hard to take this back. Once it's taken in the early game, it takes quite a lot of effort, a lot of investment to get it back before say T2 Navy is one of the easiest ways to clear this up. Is a Destro going to work on it? Will do a lot of damage, but for the next 5-10 minutes, ZLO is going to have that mid island. I mean, there's a couple of ways you could take it. If you have T2 transports dropping a lot of units there all at once, that would be one way, but then, you know, you need T2 air tech, you're not going to have that straight away. You could do T2 com drop to mid. That could work. That would definitely take back mid. And that's a lot of mexes, a lot of map control. So instead, Maitz probably going to concentrate on getting the other smaller islands. There's 4 mexes on each of these. And at the moment he has 2 of them, and ZLO does not have either of his. He's just... I think he dropped this guy here. But that's sort of evening up map control. So now we are in the chilled out stage of Seraphim Glaciers. This is the point where you have the map control. There's no fight over these islands. Sometimes you have bases facing off on these expansions, but not this time. They dropped the usual locations. And so now it's very important to have a plan for how you're going to do damage. So you have to know what your opponent's going for, and you also have to know what you're aiming for. And if we look up here, Maitz knows how he wants to do damage. It's T2 Navy, it's very quick. And we should be seeing Destros out there. He doesn't have much T1 naval at all. He has 1 frigate, I think. And his T2 Navy is slightly idle. He's got a T2 engineer out of it. Get the T2 P-Gen, and now he's moving on to Destroyer. This may be T2 Air coming up. There's a lot of air factories coming up, and I think they should be... Yeah, need more adjacency. Where are the nice air bases in T1? In ladder, I mean. You know, you can make some nice nice grids with T2 P-Gens. And we do have T2 Air coming. Now ZLO has a lot of navy out. Ooh, quite a few frigates, and he is Cybran, so Cybran have basically the best frigate. It's the best because it's only 250 mass, and it has good HP, good anti-air, good damage. You can see, well, I can't show you other factions frigates right now, but they do vary in cost. And Cybran is actually, I'm almost certain it's the cheapest one. Excuse me. I've had at least 2 drops here from ZLO to try and kill this island. Maybe even 3, but he's successful this time. And we actually have 1 death route, as I said. It's going to work on mid. And now we also have Barracudas out because there's so many frigates. And Barracudas are fantastic against frigates. Do a lot of damage and take obviously 0 damage from any frigate. And we also have torp bombers, so frigates are going to get killed, but can he do any damage with them before they do get killed? There's so many of them everywhere. This frigate spam is pretty substantial. Now mid has taken significant damage, and it looks like he was trying to use the ZLO is trying to use the Medusa against the Destro. Medusa is obviously the best unit in the game versus T2 Navy because it stuns it. And looks like ZLO has got some drops away and others have been cut out. These are only T1 drops, T1 units and T1 air transports, so they're not working too well, but they've worked well in other locations. Ooh, we have a lot of Corsairs, so ZLO has more of the small islands. He also has the middle island, so he has significantly more map control right now, despite the fact that we have a lot of air from Maitz, and the Corsairs are coming after the power, but they only take out one PGen. That's not worth it at all. It was about 5 Corsairs. You can see all these Corsair wrecks, and Maitz was aware and took a lot of them out. The frigates are coming for the T2 factory, so this is the thing with frigates, they have so much HP that even though they're dying, and they can still get all the way to the factory, and he may be able to target down the factory. But he's not actually targeting, he's just moving around. I think this factory could possibly die. It would be close. It's down to 6,000 HP. On the right, the Corsairs are just killing so many mexes. These are T2 mexes that are dying. This one was T2, this one was T2. Not sure about this one. There's another dead T2 mex dying to Corsairs. And the air is not reacting. Over here, have a failed drop, but this destroyer on a vet has killed 4. Well, it's about to kill its 4th T2 mex. So just massive, massive amounts of attacks going on at once. The constant. You can see how ZLO uses his factories. Oh my god, the mass in the bank. He just has a different rally point for a lot of these factories, and you can see where the rally just basically means he has to invest no APM, and the frigates go where he wants them, and he has so many that Maitz has to invest a lot of APM to try and deal with them using T2 Navy instead of T1. And the Barracudas, I think if he just made a lot more Barracudas, he also needs to maybe make his own frigates or his own T1 subs. But right now he just can't. The frigates are everywhere, and also the Corsairs being used very well. So many dead mexes. We also have a T1 drop here. Frigates here at the back doing damage, taking out mexes, taking out build power on the navy. And they just keep coming, but ZLO has so much mass that he's overflowing. Needs to upgrade some more mexes, invest in some more build power, because he has a lot more eco now than Maitz after sniping all of these. Looks like all the T2 mexes on the island, on the expansion, were killed. There's none left, and I think he had, well, 3 of the 4 of these were definitely T2. So there's at least 3 more T2 mexes, so I think almost most of at least half of the island was T2 mex, and they're all dead to Corsairs and drops. And we still don't have any T2 Navy from ZLO, just spamming the frigates all over. ZLO trying to get a T2 drop right into the middle of the base. That's just a mass donation. Ambitious drop there. Here's another one that failed. And the destroyers are really struggling to do damage. They're now moving a couple of them down here to attack these mexes down here. There's quite a bit of eco, and but there's torp bombers coming now. And so Maitz has to constantly be moving his air to deal with all these threats. He's probably going to be running out of fuel for a lot of these. Yes, definitely is. Half his air force is out of fuel. All these guys. So even with more air, he can't defend all of his stuff. These destroyers are going to die to these torp bombers. It's almost certain. Because even if he saves them, then he's gonna let drops in. ZLO already has T2 mexes back in this location. He still has mid, still has 3 of the 4 smaller islands. A lot of torp bombers coming from ZLO. He has not too many inties. Oh, no, he has quite a few inties in his base. The Corsairs are getting attacked now by the inties. There's so many air units are going to go down here for ZLO. It's going to be pretty painful. It's trying to save them. They have quite a lot of speed, so you can kind of fly away. More drops being attempted. Here's another one that lands, kills a T2 max and a storage. At least one storage. And Maitz having to spam units on his main island to deal with all these drops. T2 support factory, more Destros coming. See, the thing is, all these frigates are dying, obviously, but they just keep appearing in the same locations and on the same routes and just keep moving, and so they even deny the reclaim that they leave quite often. It's hard to grab that reclaim, and it's generally quite spread out because they're kind of die alone. And then the next frigate comes along and dies, leaves a little bit of reclaim, but slows down you getting the previous reclaim. So it's hard for Maitz to actually just... You can see all these wrecks here. It's difficult to grab them because just more frigates keep appearing. There's dead frigates over here. Dead Destro. And again, hard to grab because frigates keep appearing. So he can't just send engineers there. He has to try and control locations. And meanwhile, there's all these drops coming, but we have T3 air now, and quite a few ASF now. But I think he shouldn't be making ASF. He needs some damage-dealing things. He has air control anyway. The ASF are definitely going to help him catching drops. I think an Omni will be very good. You can see so many mechs is dying just to these constant suicide attacks. So now ZLO's air is going to die a lot faster. These torp bombers, the Corsairs, the drops, they're all going to die a lot faster. Ooh, that's a lot of torp bombers over here. I have 15 torp bombers total. Have a couple of T2 transports. Do we have any? Yeah, we have 7 Corsairs as well. You can see the routes these are on. Gonna hide in the corners of the map and then come back onto the playing location. So he's attacking from all of these weird angles and gonna take out T2 mexes and also attack T1 mexes in anticipation of them being upgraded. And you can see this one is upgrading right now, as is this one, which is already targeted. This one. So, and more drops coming. I mean, it's just constant. So how's Maitz going to deal with this? He is building 2 strap bombers. I think T3 mechs in the base would be nice, and also an Omni sensor would help greatly versus ZLO. Stop him hiding things in the corners of the map. And I think these are... No, maybe they're the original Barracudas, but maybe not. They probably have more kills. They're the original ones. But now the frigate spam is not so good from ZLO. You can see they're not actually making it across the map as well. Still trying to do damage. Almost took out this T2 mechs. This frigate, but he's losing a lot of them. Mid has been killed. There was even economy here for ZLO, but he still has map control, still has the expansions. Maybe we'll see some T3 mexes. And ZLO will have to go T3 air, and he is 1/3 of the way towards that. He has a lot of T2 mexes on his expansion. He's adding a lot more T1 factories, going just more and more for frig spam instead of going for T2 navy. These strats, what are they aiming at? They're going in alone and targeting perhaps parts of this power grid. But there is shielding, and he's flying directly into a lot of T1 air. There goes two T2 P-gens and two T2 air factories, and we have a lot of ASF flying into a cloud of inties. And I think these ASF are going to get wrecked. Oh no. RIP ASF. They're completely destroyed. He lost one of his 3 strat bombers. The other 2 are alive. So that's something. Still has a lot of inties, but yeah, that was a bad suicide of those ASF. We now have whalers coming. Just suicidal. The Corsairs are just everywhere. He's killing T2 mechs over here, killing them in the core base. I mean, who knows? That one might have been going T3 even. The T2 radar goes down. And just constant damage. And now the frigates, once again, have gotten everywhere. Because he's added a whole lot more factories. And I think Maitz has lost a lot of his torp bombers maybe. Or he just... I don't think he has lost them. They have a lot of kills on them. But they just can't deal with the flurry. Now the strats are moving to the expansion, which I think is where they should have gone first to kill all these T2 mexes. Could also kill the T1 factories. That would actually be good to kill the air. There goes a strat bomber, leaving 1700 mass in its wake. And this one is taking more damage. It is going to go down, but how many kills will it get before it does? So it didn't drop there, and didn't drop its bomb, and now it drops its carcass. Its juicy carcass. Maitz now at whalers, very powerful unit. And ZLO should have some ASF now, probably. Oh, he's still making his T3P gen, but he has some spy planes. And he's still making these Corsairs, these sneaky Corsairs that have very long routes. He has a T3 mechs in his base. He has 10,000 mass in the bank. And these Corsairs still just coming in from the sides to snipe mexes. Two Corsairs would kill a mex, a T2 mex in one pass. Usually. They can sometimes miss several of their missiles when they're turning. Torp bombers killing more destroyers. There's so much navy. So many destroyers have just been torped here. All the destroyers are obviously Maitz's. Because ZLO has no T2 navy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers, 6 destroyers, 7th one's gonna go down. And maybe some were reclaimed already. And Maitz has had air control the whole game, but maybe even with air control he should have been making a few more cruisers, or maybe he just needed to spam more Barracudas, spam more of his own frigates. This naval production is now dead. That's very good for Maitz. And again, the frig spam kind of dies down slightly. Doesn't have them in every orifice. Maitz is getting stealth. As ZLO begins a strap bomber, he adds a T3 Pigeon to his shield and power grid. Look at that. Looks very nice, and also gives him a lot of adjacency. So minus 800 power instead of minus 1600 power. So he's getting 50% off because he has 4 T2P gens adjacent. And that's very nice for him. Makes his T2P gens worth a lot more than they would be. Makes them more efficient than they would be. And so he doesn't even need to bother reclaiming them. His strats are being suicided, however, and leaving mass. Maitz has so much mass, it's just difficult to reclaim it all. It's everywhere, just frigate wrecks, leaving 100 mass behind. And now we have destroyers on land, they're gonna get destroyed. No pun intended, they can't use their torps on land. So they're actually a lot worse against frigates, and this cruiser doesn't look so good. So I think overall the destroyers from Maitz are just not that good. I mean, he's done damage at certain locations. Now whalers moving to the main base, and they are just destroyed, and all the ASF are getting destroyed by the swarm of inties. And I think we also have some anti-airs in here, some flak, I think I heard. I feel like I heard some. Oh yes, here we go, a bank of them. T2 static flak, and if you hang around those for too long, you are going to take a lot of damage. So much reclaim in this location specifically. A lot of dead Destros. Elsewhere it's mostly frigates. Maitz has air control. He needs to do something with it. Look at the reclaim. Double amount for Maitz now. 70k to 36 from ZLO, and ZLO looks like he's running out of ideas. Still has a fair bit of mass in the bank. He has a lot of reclaim around his base thanks to all these air suicides, all these dead ASF here, and maybe some dead whalers as well. That looks like a dead whaler. There's one here too. So maybe more mexes, maybe. Well, I don't know. He needs some kind of plan to win this game, because right now it looks pretty good for Maitz. He has so many ASF, 40 ASF now. So now I think is the time where you can actually just clean up all of these interceptors, get rid of them from the game. Once you get rid of them, they're not coming back, and then your ASF will be undisputed. And here come the ASF now, and he's gonna take some damage, but he can micro in behind the inties and stay behind them. And yeah, the inties just disappear. AoE on the ASF. Finish it up, and now he's gonna go kill all of those ASF as well. He has far more, and now he has undisputed air control. He can make any amount of air he wants. Some support factories would be good for that. We have whalers. Could spam anything. T1 bombers. If he had ZLO's very nice looking air grid, he could make a whole lot of T2 air. Thanks to all these support factories. ZLO also has quite a bit of air staging. And Maitz making T3 mexes. This one is not storaged. It's always very sad to see an unstoraged T3 mex. It's one of the most inefficient things you can do. And now it looks bad for ZLO. Maitz weathered the storm And now I think this T2 Navy, with air control, this T2 Navy will not be stopped. And ZLO's run out of time. Needed some extra addition of cheese to deal with this. Maybe he really needed air control and he could have done something with that. Maybe some hidden spider bot coming out of the water. I'm not sure, but Maitz has definitely weathered this storm and it looks very difficult for ZLO to do anything except snipe, I would say, because there's now cruisers and destros and no air control, and they're coming to his base. So what's coming? The whalers killed a fair bit of stuff. I don't know if there's T2 stuff here to kill. I guess they just killed some T1 mexes and not much else. Mid completely dead, and a lot of engineers from Maitz. What is going on here? How many units are in this little packet? There's 9 units there. Isle. That was like Count Dankula's pug there. And now the T2 Navy is on the beach. And the T3 PJ goes down, killing everything around it. And ZLO calls GG. Yeah, there was nothing left. Whalers killing his base mexes. T2 Navy gonna wipe his base now. Well, in the end it paid off, but for a lot of the game that T2 Navy was quite well dealt with by ZLO. Now finally it makes the breakthrough and shows its game-ending potential. Does ZLO have any kind of snipe on the go? I saw some strat over here, but looks like it's dead. And that's it. Maitz shows how to defeat ZLO. You have to survive first and foremost. Deal with all of the spam, all the different kinds. The very advanced forms of spam, of like hidden corsairs attacking from angles, and yeah, Maitz had air control basically the entire game, or at least he had more interceptors rather than saying he had air control. He had more interceptors or more ASF, but ZLO did tons of damage still with air, and the frigs definitely kept Maitz occupied. But in the end, Maitz defended, parried the attacks, and had a lot of reclaim left on his side, and then eventually won air conclusively, and that basically was the end because the T2 Navy then was in control. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Sign up for WWPC. Check out links to other people in the description, and I'll see you next time.